responsibly, kind of like with alcohol. Well, there is a new push by lawmakers to legalize the illegal drug for users, not abusers. A new proposal been announced in Congress to end federal penalties for anybody who's carrying fewer than 100 grams of pot. It's about 3.5 ounces or so. Let's talk about it with one of the proposal's supporters, Republican Congressman from Texas, Ron Paul. Also, you know him from the race for president. Congressman, good to see you. As your colleague Barney Frank said, the chances of this thing passing are not high, if you get the joke. What's the aim here if this thing isn't going to pass?
Well, my aim is always to promote freedom and the Constitution, and an issue like this is just has no value to have the federal police going out and trying to find people who might be smoking. Before 1938, the federal government wasn't even involved. So I would think that the states can handle things like this, and the whole notion that we regulate and prosecute people for things that some other people think is a vice, I just don't see any purpose on this. I thought we learned our lesson about what prohibition did in the early part of the last century. There's no value to it. It wastes a lot of money and causes a lot of trouble. And what do? We end up with laws like this that prohibit sick people from using marijuana where they can get benefit. We literally, the federal government, override state laws and arrest people who are sick and getting some benefit from marijuana, and they're dying with cancer or AIDS. It makes no sense at all.
Congressman Paul, real quickly though, where does it end? So we legalize about 3.5 ounces of pot, then we say, you know, if you got a touch of crack cocaine, that's okay too.
Well, that isn't the purpose of this piece of legislation, but, you know, for 130 years, that's exactly what happened. When I was a kid in high school selling in a drugstore, I sold cough medicine with codeine in it, and nobody recorded anything. And I never saw one kid in the whole community ever abuse it. So this whole idea that you have to have the federal government make people do the right thing is total nonsense. Yes, it's dangerous, it's risky, but so is alcohol, and so is smoking cigarettes. It's who should do the policing and who should make these choices. And I say it should not be the federal government. It should be the parents and the individuals. And as long as they're not hurting other people, we should allow state regulations to take care of these problems.
Let's talk about the other side of it with somebody formerly in law enforcement. Thank you to Congressman Paul. Let's go to Jeanine Pirro, Fox News legal analyst, former judge herself. Jeanine, is there a legitimate issue here that there is a problem? The sponsors in Congress are concerned that basically the punishment doesn't fit the crime, that too many people are being locked up for having a bit of pot on them.
Well, you know what? You can't throw the baby out with the bathwater. And look, as a DA in Westchester County, and most DAs across this country, we do not send marijuana defendants to prison. These are not people who are filling our prisons. They usually get drug treatment or they get some kind of a, unconditional sentence. But that's not the issue here. What has happened is the United States Supreme Court has said that the federal government can trump and can prosecute those individuals who, according to their state, are legally using marijuana for medicinal purposes. But if you look at history, Jane, what we've got in Alaska, where they legalized marijuana in the 70s, teenagers were using marijuana at 2 and 3 times the national rate, and so they recriminalized it in 1980. In Holland, where marijuana was legalized, the use of heroin tripled. It is a gateway drug, and comparing it to alcohol or anything else doesn't change the issue. There are doctors who will talk about the fact that it alters certain parts of our brains. It is too dangerous to start getting involved in legalizing a drug that we as a society know creates issues not just in terms of driving, but in terms of altering our brain and memory function.
Jeanine, real quickly, what we see going on out there, though, in the States, I mean, does this thing have any legs, this whole concept?
No, I don't think it has any legs at all. I don't think that anyone is going, or any politician is going to put him or herself on the line by legalizing marijuana. It creates a possibility, Jane, where the opponent says this person is in favor of legalizing drugs. It's not worth it to any politician. Ron Paul can talk about it all he wants. You know, this is part of who he is, but your run-of-the-mill politician is not going to run with this legislation. It's not going to happen, Jane.
Jeanine Pirro, Fox News legal analyst. Thanks, Jeanine. Well, could end up being a really major medical breakthrough.